All right, and we're back for another episode of the Sports Department Podcast with Justin Valentovic, Joe Paolantonio, and Stephen Bologna. And it's finally here. Spring training has started. Pitchers and catchers have reported. Here we are. It's baseball season, boys. We're just over, maybe a month and a half away from opening day on April 1st, but we have plenty of things to talk about. Fernando Tatis signed a monster contract extension with the Padres. But in this episode, we're going to be going over the entirety of the AL Central, one of the worst divisions in baseball, if not the worst division in baseball, behind their National League counterpart, the NL Central. So what we're going to be doing from here until opening days, once a week, we'll be doing each division, going through it, predictions for each team, expectations, and kind of recapping their offseason. So with that, let's get into it. But guys, what's going on?
Good intro. That was solid.
Man. Justin.
Boys are back in town.
Steven, hello. It's time. The boys of summer coming out to play.
Yeah.
Catchers reported. That sounds insane to even say. Didn't know we were going to get here.
I don't know how far we'll get out of here, if we're being honest at this point.
I think we're going to be okay. I really do. The NBA, the NFL got through it. Worse conditions.
The NHL's limping through it also.
Okay. Things are getting better. Things are getting better. And they're going to let some fans in the seats. It's looking like Yankee Stadium, Citi Field.
We got yards.
People coming back at the Garden soon. Oh, baby.
Yeah. So with that, let's get into some news which broke last night when we were recording this, and that's Fernando Tatis, the 6'3" electric shortstop of the San Diego Padres, of 22 years old, signed a 14-year, $340 million extension with the team. So he's there for a long, long time. Now, on the top, it seems like that's a really long deal. Also, he's 22. So by the time this is up, he'll only be 36. So he very well could get another contract with that team and stay in San Diego or go somewhere else. But who knows? But, when you look at the contract, they bought out essentially 5 years of his remaining control, so arbitration and then, contract renewal. And then really it's a 9-year extension on top of that. And annually it's about $24 million per year, which quite frankly, long-term is a steal. The details in the contract aren't out yet, but I'm sure it is more backloaded than it is front-loaded just to give them some flexibility under the salary cap and luxury tax right now. But they have their shortstop. They have their third base shortstop combination locked up for 10 years basically, so they're ready to rock on that side of the infield.
This guy's special. There was talks about an extension for a long time. I had it a couple months back in around October that there was a 14-year extension on the table, or a $400 million extension of 14 years on the table. Negotiations, they ended up here. Great move for both sides, because this is what Tatis does. Stats, big games, blah, blah, blah. He puts bodies in the seats. This guy draws attention unlike any other player in Major League Baseball right now. His arrival has completely shifted the culture of not just the Padres, but the entire direction of the league. So regardless of how he performs, just the excitement that he brings on defense, on offense, running the bases, off the field is worth every penny.
Well, he's also, one of the faces of baseball now at this point, and he's only been in the league for 2 years. You see him on the Bolt 24 commercials, albeit I see it way too much on ESPN, but also he's also on this year's cover of MLB The Show, which he's the youngest person ever to be on the game. So from a marketability standpoint, he's also worth a pretty penny as well, and just great off the field for spreading the game because, the whole let the kids play movement, with bat flips and having fun, he's kind of leading the charge for it. So long term, this is great to keep him in San Diego.
Yeah, and I think even short term, you say he's been in the league 2 years. One of those years was a 60-game season, and it doesn't matter. He finished fourth in the MVP voting, and we remember what he did in the playoffs, how incredible he was. This is a big move. This is a big trend that I think we're going to start seeing in the MLB recently. We've kind of seen it. Remember Eloy Jimenez got his contract right when he got called up. Probably Juan Soto, something similar is going to happen to that.
Albies got paid. Acuna got paid.
Yeah.
We're seeing teams now paying their younger stars, buying out the arbitration rights, paying more in the short term, but ultimately keeping their guys long term. Which, for all intents and purposes, San Diego's a relatively small market team. They've made moves like a big market team this offseason, which we'll get into when we get into the NL West. But they're doing the right thing for the health of their franchise, and this was a great move.
Tatis earned this money. You talk about these other extensions, and the problem that a lot of people had with them, especially Albies and Acuna, is that it kind of felt players got gypped.
Albies especially.
Yeah, he's
I think
making
he's saying what, like $7 million a year.
So I mean, this is a legitimate contract. This is like you hit free agency in your prime level contract. So I'm really happy for the Tatis camp on this. Of course, we will get to the Padres sometime in the coming week. So I don't want to
week or two
into the projections about what this means for them short term, but I will say long term, we could be looking at in Allen Iverson type, Michael Jordan type impact on the game of baseball.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, he's doing it from a young age, so he's
Yeah.
certainly on the trajectory.
Real quick, Joe, what do you think Juan Soto's contract is going to be?
It's almost ridiculous. If Tatis commanded this right now, the market is only going up. If Juan
And Soto is like a year younger than him. Like is he still 20?
Soto
Is he
is
20?
younger, and Soto has
Performed.
more, yeah, he has more under his belt already. So yeah, we're
that could be close to a $400 million deal. And what this now is set the market for Francisco Lindor, which we'll see when they get that deal done. But with that, let's get into the bulk of this podcast, and that's, oh boy, why can't we just talk about Tatis more? But we'll get into something much more depressing, and that is the AL Central. Last year, Twins won it by a game, basically. And then the White Sox came in second, Indians in third, Royals in fourth, and no surprise, the Tigers in dead last. So with that, we will go in reverse order, worst to first. And starting with the team who got the first overall pick, getting Spencer Torkelson, is the Detroit Tigers. Initially, their offseason, it's a Tigers offseason. They are a bad team. They signed Wilson Ramos, brought back Jonathan Scope, Miguel Cabrera still rotting away there. Still no pitching staff, no bullpen, really no farm system, no direction, and they're just kind of floundering.
Well, I will for each of these teams, I kind of want to give a reason for optimism. One bright spot that we can look for. And the answer is going to change the organization, so to speak. They've been talking about this guy forever. Casey Mize is the first.
I'm not buying it. Not buying it, Joe.
Why?
Well, because if we remember, Casey Mize gets drafted number 1 overall, then pitches in the SEC championship game, gets lit up for 7 runs, and loses in an upset. I just don't. I don't think he's going to translate well to the big league. He didn't do well last year either.
Yeah, but that was also a 60-game season. He got 3-4 starts. Minimal spring training, not really a minor league season.
He's got untapped potential. We know how good he can be. We know how good he was in the minor leagues. He dominated, carved up the minor leagues.
I know he threw a no-hitter.
I think
his first start in, I think, single A.
Yeah.
He's a monster. They got Isaac Paredes on the way up. That's another young prospect. He's going to be very exciting. So this is a squad that
they're just kind of trying to tread water until the Miggy contract runs out, because that's, hamstring them in a bit. But, they have major league veterans who can play this year at least, so it's not
good veterans. They're not veterans that can win you game. Everyone in their lineup, I think, just has a glaring hole in one part.
Yeah.
They don't have a far away best player.
They're all veterans that if they play well enough, they could get traded for something at the deadline to a contender looking for depth. So they could, get a prospect here or there, which they need drastically. I
like Jamer Candelario. The guy was pretty good last year.
That's basically it.
He's a nice little power bat, gets on base at. He's nothing special. That could be a guy that you can see a trade piece for. A guy looking A team looking for a corner infielder at the
Switch hitter with some pop. Yeah, no, it like I said though, they have pieces that they could move if they perform, but the team as a whole, they're going to be in the basement again. They're going to be picking.
They're finally out from under the Jordan Zimmerman rock.
Yeah, that finally wore off. Thank God for them.
Still an
Listen, I want to
Matt
talk
Boyd's
about.
still there.
Oh goodness, yeah. Justin, now take what I'm about to say with a grain of salt because none of these stats really matter. 7 starts last year for Casey Mize.
I thought we were talking about Woba.
0-3. Gave up 25 runs in 28 innings, along with 13 walks. Listen, I know it's a 60-game season, and I know he just got called up, but this is the talent he's going to be facing.
Well, I get what you're saying because
starts.
It's kind of like he didn't really show anything of significance either. I get what you're getting at.
If we're talking about franchise changing, Spencer Torkelson is going to change this franchise. If we're being completely honest,
a guy on his first 7 starts in a 60-game season. We can't just say that he is going to flame out, that he's not going to be a difference maker.
I mean, he can't be Dean Kramer.
He can't. Yeah, Dean Kramer, of course. This is a pitching staff that's in dire need of an uplifting. They went out. They got Jose Urania. They got Derek Holland. They need something. They need a spark. Casey Mize, maybe
Would be it.
He needs to be.
Yeah.
Matt Manning, another pitching prospect coming up. Those two are always kind of like the M&M boy, like Mantle and Manning coming up.
Yeah.
Well,
this is not a good team. That's
We're
really
only dead last in odds to win this division.
So with that, because there's really nothing else going on with this Tiger squad,
ugly team.
Record predictions.
Jesus. I think they're going to be better than the Rockies, if that means anything. I think they're going to be better than the Pirates.
Not saying much.
This is the conversation you need to have. Then you go then you're in Orioles Marlins territory, and I think they're going to be. I think they're going to be Orioles Marlins territory, probably the 5th or 4th worst record. I'll give them 70 wins.
70. Oof.
I'll go 66.
They play the Royals 19 times. They play the Indians 19 times. They're gonna win. A
few games.
Yeah.
I'm going with 60 wins.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's going to be a rough year in Detroit. So let's talk about those Kansas City Royals, Joe.
This team is a little bit more of a bright spot, but I don't want to say
they're a little more watchable.
They're a little better. They just made a big trade. Actually, I don't know if we got this one on the podcast, but Andrew Benintendi, coming over. I don't know why they made this trade. Andrew Benintendi coming over from Boston, so they get him. Who, I mean, I don't. That's not really anything to me. They got Greg.
He's their new Alex Gordon.
I mean, they made some interesting moves. They picked up Mike Minor. That's a move that I like really well.
Carlos Santana's there.
They got Michael Taylor.
Like this is more of a major league team, especially on the pitching side of the ball. Whereas the Tigers have absolutely no pitching. You start to see a little more respectable names. Danny Duffy, Mike Minor, Greg Holland at the back end of the bullpen. They got some good arms. Josh Stauman at the end of the bullpen.
I think they brought back. Did Wade Davis go back there too?
Did Wade Davis go back?
I thought he went to the Brewers. Yeah. Did he go back?
Yeah, he went back.
I think that.
But it's a nice.
I think the Royals are going to be in a position if they're out of it by the trade deadline. You have to think about trading Merrifield
and Perez too.
I think you have to. Perez, yeah.
That's a big thing.
Merrifield's really good. I think he's very underrated.
And he's a utility guy too. He can play the outfield. He can play, shortstop, second base, little third also. But the Royals, they're on a rebuild.
None of these bats excite me.
No.
I like Carlos Santana.
We could see maybe Soler get moved also.
Yeah. If I'm gonna pick a bright spot of this team, just something fun to watch for, I think that defensively, I know it's kind of a cop-out, but defensively, really good stuff out here. Merrifield can defend any position well. Salvador Perez, Gold Glover at the backstop.
Alberto Mondesi's not a bad shortstop.
Yeah, no, and Michael A. Taylor, Benintendi in the outfield. They're
It's,
gonna a lot of balls aren't going to drop.
this is a very bad remake of their World Series team of just speed and defense and contact and getting on base and swiping a bag.
Is Jorge Soler 2 years removed from a 50 home run season?
With the juice balls.
I wonder if we see Bobby Witt Jr. this year at all. Maybe
he's creeping up the we could see him maybe in September.
That's what I'm saying.
Did he play a little bit last year, or was that just spring training?
I think
I think spring.
I got an ETA for Bobby Witt Jr. in 2023.
Whoa. That's funny because Adley is right. He was drafted
Adley's
one pick in front of him, and he's next year. Yeah,
well, Adley also went through 4 years of college.
Mm-hmm. So they weirdly were active this off season. My apologies. They had a weird active off season.
They kind of took the Marlins route of still being bad but getting capable major leaguers that they could screw around and win you a few games. And they're not going to be a wild card team or win the division by any means, but maybe they won't be picking bottom 5 of the MLB draft again.
They're not going to be as bad because this is a team that has major league talent in the pitching staff. A lot of teams, just going to name a random team here. The Orioles have not really had major league caliber pitching year after year. Maybe this year.
We got the king, baby.
We'll get to them. But
the Dark Knight.
That's really where things fall off. Kansas City has legitimate arms. They're not good arms, but they're going to
they're major league arms.
And again, 19 games.
Against Detroit.
That's going to help out a lot. I think they're not going to be a bottom feeder anymore.
And then with that show.
So it's not like this is a team that's trending up. It's not going to be a young and fun team.
No.
It's just going to be a tough series for playoff contenders.
They're a team of veterans who are just trying to play to get traded somewhere else to a contender and get flipped for a prospect. But with that, Joe, we'll start with you for the record prediction.
They're going to finish in 4th.
Okay.
Proudly. As far as wins, with the Royals, it's tough. I don't want to put them too low because I think that they're going to shock some people. I don't want to put them at 500 either, so I'll go mid 70s as far as win total.
Yeah, I was going to do 76 if I had to give a number.
I was going to say 72.
Wow, you're lowballing these teams. I'm very curious when we get to the Pittsburgh Pirates and the
I'm thinking I'm thinking worse than 2019 Orioles for the Pirates.
I'm excited for that. I'm excited.
Yeah. That if we're talking about a wasteland of a team, they need to be disbanded from the MLB. So with that, let's talk about a team who took a major hit this offseason, but we saw a move coming from a mile away, and that's the Cleveland Indians with dealing Francisco Lindor.
They are going to be the Cleveland Indians going into the season.
Yes, they aren't the Cleveland baseball team yet.
Oh, they're not.
No, they're dropping it next year. This is the last year, I believe, as the Indians. But the big loss is losing Francisco Lindor, getting back two shortstops. Don't know where they're going to play either of them because only one can play shortstop.
Brad Hand is gone and Carlos Santana are gone.
Carrasco's gone.
That's right. Traded Cookie Carrasco. Those guys were huge for them.
Yeah. So it's basically the Will Smith meme with Jose Ramirez now at this point because it's who's left on that team from the World Series team because that team just got absolutely ripped apart.
The great Jose Ramirez. One of the most underrated players in baseball. If I'm gonna pick a bright spot for this team, it's going to be yet another in a long line of MVP caliber seasons for Jose Ramirez. This guy has been overshadowed a little bit by Lindor his entire career. It's his show now. I mean, they also did to give credit because I want to rip the Indians because you can't.
They deserve a ripping.
No excuse to trade Lindor. There is absolutely no excuse.
Well, it's kind of like the Orioles with Machado. It's when you get a franchise shortstop player, it's you tried to do everything to keep him, and they botched it.
They made absolutely no effort to keep Lindor. No. They have made no effort into actually winning.
Well, they said after the World Series when they lost, they're we're not re-signing him.
Yeah.
like he's going to either hit free agency or we're trading him. And that was 2 years out, 3 years out.
They slammed their own window closed, which
Yep.
it leaves a bad taste in my mouth because you want to see these teams try to win. They made the playoffs last year. I know it was expanded playoffs, but they had a home playoff game last
But
year.
Cleveland has always done this. Ramirez, Alomar, Tome.
Kluber,
It just
Bauer, Carrasco, they had all these guys in their
Clevenger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But this is a team this is tragic because they could legitimately have the Cy Young Award winner and the MVP on their team this season and not even come close to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's likely that
Until they deal Bieber, until they deal or lose Ramirez, they'll be a consistently mediocrely average team.
this team isn't bad. I'm not going to say that this is.
I don't think it's bad either.
No, it's not bad, but it's not good.
I'm looking like if you look at the lineup, it's not. It's a team that seems like it can be very inconsistent. We have seen Franmil Reyes have tremendous stretches of baseball where he's one of the prolific power hitters in the game.
Wasn't he originally like a Padre?
He was a great Padre. Yeah.
Padre,
He he hit bombs with them, I remember.
Yeah. Eddie Rosario is a guy that we have seen be both really, really good and really, really bad. Cesar Hernandez. Same thing. This is going to be a team. This is going to be your run-of-the-mill 500 baseball team. They're going to have great stretches, and they're going to struggle for long periods of time. And for the life of me, I don't understand how they're running out. I mean,
And it's like they'll always do it.
Mercado. It says Daniel Johnson is projected to be their starting right fielder.
Who's their first baseman?
Oh,
Naylor?
Naylor, we don't know about. Naylor has sort of a Randy Arozarena effect.
Yeah, we're a great postseason, but like just kind of appeared.
Yeah, but they've had a lot of these guys for a long time. Luplo, Naylor's another one that have just stuck around with them.
Who's playing center field for them?
Center field is Mercado.
Oh.
Yeah, Mercado. And today, Bieber tested positive for COVID, unfortunately.
Oh boy. So that's going to be a delayed start to spring training, and hopefully he's ready for opening day.
For the Cy Young winner.
That's tough. Yeah, and he should be ready for unless things.
Yeah, because you got to figure they'll ramp him up a little quicker, but maybe take it slow. But who knows? But the Indians, they are just fledgling mediocrity. They'll be, like you said, Joe, a 500 team. So that's where I'm putting them, 81-81.
Yeah, third place, 81 wins. I like Tristan McKenzie. His first start was absolutely electric, very exciting. Good to see a believe with him.
That's the sad thing with the Indians. It's where you see people, it's like, oh, they're promising. It's like, but they're not going to keep them. One way or another, they're not keeping them.
Yeah.
Over under for wins currently sitting at 81.5.
Yeah, that's how they're basically 500. So, Steve, where
I'm
you putting them?
I'm going to hit the over, 83.
Oh,
I think
I'm 83.
They might be at the All-Star break. We might be having a conversation about the Indians being a potential wild card team, but I think that they're going to either sit pat at the deadline or literally sell
everything. But see,
again, they have to play the Royals and the Tigers, like we've been saying all along.
But see, they'll be like at the wild card, like chasing a wild card berth.
Justin.
Ooh.
Oh boy! All right,
Joe. Let's do it, buddy. Let's carry it.
Yeah, it's okay. We got some technical difficulties. Probably probably a snowplow ran over the Wi-Fi, the router. But we're gonna move up to the second place team in the American League Central. It was who finished in second? Was it the White Sox finished in second last?
I think it was the White Sox. Yeah.
The White Sox, who had to go on the road against Oakland, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And that was another heartbreaking playoff loss. But of course, your Chicago White Sox, a team who had an active offseason, safe to say. I am the host of the meeting now.
There it is, host.
So looking at this team, James McCann is gone. Alex Colomé is gone. Nomar Mazara is gone. But
don't worry.
Because they went out and they made the trade with Texas, which is easy to forget because it happened so long ago.
Yeah.
But they made that big trade with Texas to acquire Lance Lynn. And that's kind of where I want to start because the White Sox, you never really think of them as a pitching heavy team. But with Giolito, Keuchel, and Lance Lynn, there's some conversations that need to be had here.
Yeah, it's solid. And this is a team that, you look at current MVP odds, they have 5 players in the top 15.
Really?
Yeah, Robert, Moncada, Tim Anderson.
Yeah.
I think
Abreu.
Eloy's up there, and then Abreu.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's all warranted. And beyond that, the Lance Lynn trade, free agent signing, Liam Hendricks coming off
Yeah, that was a big one.
terrific seasons as a reliever. So that's exciting because they haven't had anyone to really shut the door. But really, what is the best is the offense. I mean, you got this team is stacked. It's really, I think I would put a 1 through 7 in this lineup. Which it goes Anderson, and then they got Tim Eaton or Adam Eaton, who
Adam
is
Eaton, yeah.
one of the better contact hitters, who World Series champion. Grandal, Abreu, Jimenez, Mancata, Robert. I mean, pitchers are.
And they got a new manager,
Oh yeah.
Tony, fresh off the DUI.
How do you think that's going to affect the team?
He's a nutcase.
I don't think the players are too happy.
I don't think so either. But nowadays the players want, friendly player, friendly managers. LaRusse is an old school guy that's gonna, it's gonna be his show to run, and I don't know if the players are gonna like that.
No, but one guy that Tony La Russa talked about, young guys, Andrew Vaughn
Oh baby.
might be making his way onto the team. I mean, they lost Edwin Encarnacion, who was kind of a disappointment for them. So we're going to see maybe Andrew Vaughn can slip into that DH role that Edwin took over.
Yeah, he's right there on the call up. He's going to be called up soon.
If he performs, if he slugs like we think he can slug, this has to be at least the best pure power hitting team in baseball.
Yeah, I mean, Robert, Eloy, and then Vaughn alone. I think Robert's gonna be he's awesome. He's a stud.
He's like Tatis, but in the outfield. That power speed combination and the electricity that he plays with, I'm looking forward to it. The White Sox, a lot of people are putting them as one of the best teams in the American League. A lot of them, I'm hearing some people projecting the White Sox to be World Series contenders.
Interesting.
For the first time in a very long time. Steve, do you even think they're going to win the division?
I do think they win the division. I think the Twins are going to give them a run for their money, but I do think I think they get the job done. World Series contenders, I still think they're a little young. I think they're a year out. Keuchel, he's been recently. Lance Lynn, we know what he's been in the past, and obviously he's been very good recently. And again, I just think you look at Robert, Jimenez, they're so young. Maybe Vaughn, Tim Anderson's really your only, and Grandal, they're really your 2 main guys. And even them, still Anderson at least still kind of young. They're currently the favorite to win the division, and their over under win total. I'll find out the number for you in just 91.5. So this could potentially be a 100-win baseball team. I'm buying into them winning the division. I don't think they could beat the Yankees yet or the Astros.
I like them. I like them a lot. I think that they have potential to go far in the playoffs. I don't think they're going to win the division.
Interesting.
I think that this team just is not there yet, bullpen wise. Offensively, there's a lot that we think that we know. A lot of untapped potential there. We're not sure what we're going to get out of some of these guys, especially Robert and Mancada, who have struggled in the past. I'll give him 90 wins. But the team we're going to finish off with today, the Minnesota Twins, who have been perennial playoff contenders now for a few years. They've had
keep running into the Yankees.
The problem, yeah, the division winners from last year, eventually falling to the Houston Astros, tragically at home, with a relatively quiet offseason. The Minnesota Twins, but the first move that really strikes me, they brought back Nelson Cruz.
Yeah.
You had to, right?
Yeah, I mean, when there's such a pressing need for DH and Cruz still produces at his age, still produces really well also. You had to do it. You had to bring him back.
Andrelton Simmons, another big free agent signing at
Yep.
shortstop. That's huge. I mean, he has the ability to change the way you look at a team like this. But when I'm looking at their lineup, it's the 3-4-5: Donaldson, Cruz, and Sano.
Donaldson, that's a step up though. He got a big contract to not play that much last season.
Of course, he does need to step up. But what we know about Josh Donaldson, he does not seem like a guy that's going to go down without a fight.
Nope.
I'm a little worried about the back end. They signed J Happ and Matt Schumacher at the end of the rotation.
It's
Jose Barrios and Kenta Maeda, who
Kenta Maeda, yeah.
unsung acquisition last season in the
Yeah.
whole Mookie Betts saga with Boston,
Yeah.
Los Angeles. They somehow picked him up, like kind of just by accident, and he was great last year.
I think we're gonna see the MVP of this team be someone that people don't expect. I think Max Kepler takes that next step.
The German sensation.
I'm a fan. He's got really good power.
Yeah.
Got some swagger to him. Kepleroni. I think he's the team MVP this season.
This is another thing about the Twins that a lot of people forget, because they look at that stadium, it's so big, but they hit a lot of home runs. They hit a lot of home runs too. A couple years ago, I think they broke the record. And the difference, I think, with Minnesota and every other team in the division is they have an actual bullpen of established pitchers. They got Alex Colomé as the closer, but I like the Robles move. That was nice. Taylor Rogers, Tyler Duffy at the back. They lost Trevor May, which is tough, but
Yeah, it hurts. That does hurt.
you got to give it up because they built a full pitching staff, a veteran pitching staff, and this is the type of stuff that wins divisions. I also think they're deeper than the White Sox. I think that if someone goes down, they have bodies that can come up. I mean, Garver behind the plate, I like it a lot. Jake Cave, reliable outfielder. This just seems like a better full roster. And real quick, your win total for the Minnesota Twins?
95.
95. I like
95. Yeah, this is going to be a good team.
I have them right around there too. I'll give them 93. They're going to win the division. They're going to win the division. Don't know how far they're going to get. Probably a first round exit. They're probably
again.
But that's going to be all for the Department Podcast. Steve, do you know the social media? Can you plug it real quick?
Yeah, it's Sports Dept Pod, Sports DEPT Pod on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube and Spotify as well. We just had an NFL mock draft episode release, which you're going to want to watch. I think we have some wrestling stuff coming out very soon, as well as more baseball, more hockey. Every single day, we're going to be getting the content out to you. A lot of bright stuff in the future.
All right, folks, that's all for us. See you next time.